Okay, so here we are. It's really our pleasure to be here, and thank you for trusting us with an hour of your professional development this year. My name is Tyler Moore. I'm the Director of Programs here at the Commonwealth Center for Fathers and Families. And with me is David Cozart, who is our Chief Visionary Officer. Um, Basically, before we even get started, there's a couple things that we want to make very upfront. And that, first of all, that fatherhood, we do not feel is more important than or exclusive from motherhood. And we think that everybody in this audience, everybody on this planet has a mother and a father. They may all have very different relationships with them, but everybody's got one. And we think that when those two entities are working together in concert for the benefit of their children, that's the optimum outcome for those children. And then again, for the families and for the communities that those families are in. So when you see fatherhood, please understand, and we're going to approach this topic from a very father-centric lens today, but please don't think that we take that in a context that excludes mothers at all. So I'm sure David will touch on that in a minute too. So if you'll humor me, I'm going to go ahead and share the screen in a second, and start a slideshow, and just let me know if you're seeing this correctly. Is that coming up? It looked like I got a thumbs up from Quentin there. Perfect. Yeah, Eric is nodding. Thank you. So again, this is who we are. And we're going to talk today about why we feel that fatherhood needs to be stressed and why it's important to engage the fathers in your communities and help work with them to keep them in a healthy and engaged place with those families and children that you're working with. And then we'll talk about at the end of this, some strategies and some ideas and concepts for how to approach that. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to David for a second to kind of introduce this paradigm. So David, if you want to talk through these first couple slides.
You can go back. Thank you. Sorry about that. I was muted. You can go back one slide if you don't mind. Right there. That's good. Don't want those other two fellas on the screen any longer than we have to have them. So, hey, I do with the number, if it pleases the group, I wouldn't mind just folks sounding out their name and their role and what school and what county that we have. Looks like we got some room for that. Really like to know who's in the space. And while you're preparing for that, just to pop off a mute and give your name and what school you're at, and what county you serve. Okay. I also want to add to something Tyler said. He mentioned that fatherhood and motherhood are not the antithesis of one another. They're not contradictory. They're complementary. We around here, you might hear us say we're about team little, with just a child. That's our main concern, and we know when they have two healthy adults, their life outcomes are more likely to occur. You're going to hear some profound information as that relates to fathers. And so thank you for that disclaimer. Another disclaimer that I'm trying to do better with, I've done this work for a period of time, and there's always growth opportunities. What I have realized for us and for each participant here is that fatherhood, you all will know of ACEs, and you all will know of the not only the adverse childhood experiences, but we're trying to accentuate those positive childhood experiences. You all will know of trauma-informed care. We take that approach as well. And I've learned that it's important for us going into this information, though we're presenting in somewhat of an academic way, I have learned that I need to give that trauma trigger warning or that trauma prompter warning. Because when we're talking about fathers, you will come to know, if you don't already know, when we're talking about fatherhood, we all have that a fatherhood experience, and some were positive and some were not. And when you go to your vocation, your work, in this instance, Friskies, it is not like you can leave who you are at home. And so I like for folks to hear and know that we will be talking about challenges that father absence creates that may well impact some people on this call as you do your work. And so I just wanted to give that disclaimer. So with that in mind, if you don't mind, I see things, everybody may see things a bit differently on their screen, but just real swiftly, if you all would just pop off a mute and say who you are and what role you play. I don't want to be presumptuous that all are just Frisk, are Frisk, not just Frisk, but and your county. So I see on my screen is first, looks like Sister Amy, is it Chris?
Yes, that's correct. My name is Amy Kress, and I am a Family Resource Center coordinator, and I am in Pulaski County.
Pulaski County.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. I see, if you'll pop it to the next, Amy.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
If you'll pop it to the next person, that'd be great.
Oh,
And then
yes.
everyone, so on and so
Erica
forth.
Sexton.
Hi, I'm Erica Sexton. I am new to my role as the Bergen Family Resource and Youth Service Center Coordinator. I've been here since November, and we are in Mercer County. We are an independent school district who serves pre-K through 12 all under one roof.
Thank you, ma'am. Caitlin.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Gregory. I'm here in Clay County, and I'm at Clay County Middle School as a Youth Service Center Coordinator.
Thank you, ma'am. Sister Rebecca.
Hey guys, I'm Becky Maupin at Waco Elementary. I'm Family Resource Director here in Madison County. Having camera difficulties this day.
No problem. No problem. We can see you. We appreciate you. Sister Stacy.
I'm Stacy Cornish, and I am a Family Resource and Youth Service Center in Nelson County. I've got pre-K through 8th grade.
What's the seat in Nelson, Sister Cornish?
The what?
The seat, county seat in Nelson County.
Bardstown?
Bardstown. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hope Nolan. She may be indisposed. I see Napier. Are you available?
Hi, yeah, my computer or video is not working, but I am Katie Napier, and I am the Family Resource Coordinator at Walton Verona Elementary, and we are K through 4, but I also do the preschool, and I am in Southern Boone County. We're about 10 minutes south of Cincinnati, Ohio.
Thank you. Thank you much. Gretchen Williams.
Hi, my camera is also not working well, but I am the Family Resource Coordinator at Highland Elementary School in Glasgow, Kentucky. We are K through 5.
Glasgow is what county, Sister Williams?
It is Barron County.
Thought so. Just wanted to confirm that. Thank you, ma'am. And Shelley Wesley. Okay, might be indisposed. So our brother said in the beginning that we'll give you some instructions. We've got a small enough group. We've got about a 25, 30-minute presentation, and we're going to fly through. We want you to be able to ask questions if something's burning during this. Please feel free to jump in and ask that question as you need to. So I'll keep an eye, Tyler and I will keep an eye on the hands and the folks that may have questions there. So next slide, Tyler.
Mr. Cozart, could you hear me now?
I can.
Okay, I was having trouble with my audio and stuff. I was just wanting to let you know I'm here.
All right. Casey County looks like.
Yes.
Which grade level?
I'm family resource. It's preschool through 5th grade.
Okay, okay. So this is an understanding for me. There are frisks at the high school level. Is that accurate?
Yes.
I thought so. Okay, just making sure. And by the way, I have an endearment for Family Resource Center coordinators. I married one. At least that's what she was when we got married. So I know a little bit of y'all's plight. And I know while they call you Family Resource Center coordinator, that likely means, if you're like my wife, any and everything that is needed in the school that is not there by position, from doing clothes or having clothes and coats and hygiene things, and might have to do a little instruction as well. So thank you all for what each one of you do for our families and children across this Commonwealth in your respective places. Good representation across the state as well. So I know also that a lot of folks in education, again, I'm endeared to them. Y'all deserve to get paid a lot more than you do. So here's a chance for you to win $1 million, somebody. So perk your ears up. It's easy. $1 million on the line here. If somebody can tell me who this gentleman is without Googling. So I'll give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Don't get that million, but that is Manuel Snyderker. I don't know why y'all didn't know this gentleman. Man, he looked like something off of an 80s movie, didn't it? That's Manuel Snyderker. Manuel is the gentleman that holds the record currently that he set in 2020 for the longest wheelie on a bicycle in 1 hour. He rode almost 31 kilometers or 19 miles in an hour on a bicycle in a wheelie, riding on a wheelie, one wheel, right? I used to bust my head trying to ride wheelies, and he rode it for 19 miles. That's pretty fascinating. Here's another chance for $1 million. Who's this gentleman here? Somebody getting a selfie with him. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I tried to help y'all out. I tried to make a millionaire, but with no one won, it doesn't look like. That's Flippo Ghana. Flippo Ghana, I think he's French, but he was in Switzerland, and he holds the record for the longest bike ride in an hour, riding the bike regularly. So 56 kilometers, almost 36 miles. Remember, Brother Snyderger, he was 19 and a half miles or so. So almost twice as long on the bicycle, riding the bicycle on 2 wheels. Next slide. What in the heck does this have to do with fatherhood and what we're going to be talking about and what Tyler's about to share? Well, how is a bike designed to be ridden? 2 wheels, not 1. So we have on our left, as you look at it, a single parent home. The majority of single parent homes are homes in which mothers are the primary custodian. But we also have 2-parent homes or co-parenting relationships. In my opinion, Brother Snyderger is very talented. He is to be commended for riding his bike on a wheelie for 19 miles in an hour. But Mr. Ghana was able to ride at 35, almost 36 in an hour because he was riding the bike the way it was designed to do. Next slide. I use this metaphor for folks to understand and to further complement single parents, particularly single moms. They are holding many of your children's families down. Many of the kids that you serve in that school will come from single parent homes. We have the numbers on what that might be coming up. But the bike is not designed to be ridden on one tire. And as valiant as that wheelie is, it's not the design, and it'll never be able to sustain and hold up if we are not riding the bike the way it was originally designed. And likewise, our families have been held together many times by mothers, maternal grandmothers, but it's not the way it's originally designed. And so inevitably, there's going to be challenges at some point. And so what we're seeking to impart upon everyone and raise their awareness is that fatherhood inclusion is one of those, what you'll hear called the upstream issue, meaning we want to get people upstream before they get imperiled downstream. We want to work with the kids before the issues begin to present in your home. We firmly believe that fatherhood is part of that. Next slide. So Tyler, I think you'll jump off here and further talk about some of the specific points of fatherhood and how they impact the children that our participants are serving.
Well, hey, that's a great setup, David. Thanks so much. Right now, I'm going to walk you through some statistics on father absence and father engagement and the impact it can have on children, families, and communities. A lot of this you might understand kind of peripherally or have some context for. Some of you might be, deeply steeped in these numbers and understand them. But I know for me, even after being a father for 2 decades, that a lot of this was surprising to me. So I hope that as we go through this, that there's some type of epiphany that comes with it. And then we can talk about the conundrum that epiphany presents when David picks back up in a little bit here. All right, but as you can see, 1 in 4 children live without their biological step or adoptive father in the family, and that these percentages are imbalanced across the races, with white children least likely to see that situation, 10% more likely in Hispanic children, and almost 3 times more likely compared to whites in African-American families, according to these statistics. We're going to talk about that in a second too. 40% of these kids living without their biological fathers. And against this, we in America can agree that about 3/4 of us feel that father absence is one of the most significant social problems facing America. So let's take a look at why. But before we do, I want to address that myth of father absence. First of all, to say that those statistics and the mechanisms used to collect them are systemically biased, and that it creates the idea that Black fathers are less concerned or engaged about their kids. But other studies, such as this one, supported by the CDC, found that actually African-American fathers who are engaged in their families are more engaged than any other ethnic group, even whites and Hispanics. So why talk about fatherhood at all? Why talk about father absence? When you look at a lot of the issues that we see facing our communities today, our schools, our families, we see these words, but we really don't see father anywhere. And as we start talking about this, I'm going to help you see that if you don't see how it fits already, and we can talk about it when we're done. Why is it important? Because the rates of abuse and neglect, and look at the numbers on fatal abuse there, are so much higher in father-absent homes. And the types of abuse and the frequency of it in single-parent families are significantly higher for many reasons. When dad's around, the neglect rates are half to almost 1/4 of what they are in other families, because of what that healthy father presence provides. Okay. Homelessness is a huge issue that we look at in our families, but 90% of homeless and runaway children come from a father-absent home, 32 times the national average. This is more than correlation. And then even when families do become homeless, our system tends to break them up. They won't let dad and mom stay together and be there with the kids. And some shelters even separate moms and kids after a certain age too. And it hurts families. Mental health is a factor in a lot of other issues that our society faces. And the correlation between mental health issues and father-absent homes is undeniable. 85% of the kids in your classes who are having behavioral disorders come from father-absent homes. They see more significant developmental issues. They have more trouble managing and regulating their emotions, and their moms are having greater stress and more trouble too. When dad's around and when dad's engaged, there's increased emotional stability, not just in the children, but in the moms too. Female children see a reduction in psychological issues, rates of depression as well. And kind of a funny side issue is one of the strongest indicators that a child are going to develop a strong sense of empathy is directly tied to how much roughhouse play they have with their father. When dad's not around, we know how dads play with kids. We don't just sit around and talk. We grab, we run around, we're very active just by nature. And you see that obesity is typically higher when dad's not there. Rates of teen pregnancy are 7 times higher. And then the reports of psychosomatic health illness and issues are also higher as well. And David, did you want to touch on the early onset menses there? I know that you paid some attention to that.
Yeah. How many, I'm trying to see here, if you're on screen or you can just put a thumbs up, how many part of your role is to provide hygiene products for children, or you've had to do that, particularly feminine hygiene products for children? Is anybody in an elementary school that finds themselves needing to have feminine hygiene products? I see some thumbs up. Yes, every day. So again, I told you that this gets, sometimes this conversation gets very ticklish. I'm a 70s baby raised in the 80s, graduated high school around 89, so I just dated myself. And I remember being in high school, Sister Rebecca, and the girls around me would be making fun of the other girl that hadn't got her period yet. That was in high school. And that was not uncommon back then for me and for where I was at. And now you all just affirmed that in elementary school, you all are having to do this. That is a shift, Brother Floyd, from times in the past. Now, many will say that this maturation process is due to hormones in the food and various things, and that may well be a biological or physiological issue that is impacted by hormones. But there are studies that show that when fathers are absent from the home, there's an early onset of that menarche, that menses period, that young girls are experiencing, which is to say that we always say that little boys need their fathers, and they do, right? It takes a man to raise a little boy. We say that. I want no one to discount that little girls it's as important to little girls. This study says that her actual maturation process is impacted by whether the father is in the home or not. Of course, once they reach that stage of maturation, you can go back to some of the other stats that you saw, teenage pregnancy, right? Once they get there, then they can start procreating and they can have babies. And that's just a phenomenal piece that I like to highlight to show folks the very importance of father participation in the lives of little boys, and in this case, little girls. Thank you for calling that, Tyler.
Right. And then, you talk about physical health. How many times do some of these psychosomatic issues and the pressure kids put on trying to get out of school on a single parent, how often do they prevail in that situation? And does that affect school attendance as well? I mean, absolutely. And again, so we see with father presence, we see just more encouraged physical activity, more roughhouse play. It actually, even though they might play in a more physical, risky way, the children actually learn risk management and risk prevention, and how to manage risk and not take them, and how to avoid it when it's not beneficial. It also helps them to be more physically fit. Dad, with two-parent families and an engaged dad, of course, you see more emphasis on attending health checkups, regular physicals, better medical care, and that physical play helps manage other emotional stresses. And here, direct application, obviously, to this crowd is the high school dropout rate in single parent homes is significantly higher, 9 times the national average. And these kids are 2 times more likely to drop out. And we see that children being raised in families where there's been a divorce or separation, they're born, in a non-union situation, that their GPAs are typically lower. Contrast that with an engaged present father, and you just see on average higher school performance, but not just higher, they're 43% more likely to get A's in school, far less likely to repeat a grade, and in general, they have increased academic and cognitive abilities. Poverty is a huge contributing factor to a lot of the other challenges that families can face, and they're 4 times more likely to live in poverty in an absent father home. The median income compared from a single mom to a married couple is significant, more than double, and you can understand why that would impact poverty. But then the income in a single father home is just in the low 40s, about 42,000. So when parents are co-parenting, when they're sharing this burden, the challenges faced by poverty and presented by poverty are far less likely to surface. And then even if they are living, almost hand to mouth when the father's present, delinquency and economic disadvantage are still much less common in those low-income families. And addiction. If you're not seeing it at your school, that you're seeing at the grade levels above it, it's 10 times more likely in a father absent home. It's one of the biggest problems we're facing in our society today, and father absence is directly linked to it. 75% of the adolescent patients being treated for it in substance abuse centers are coming from these homes. And when dad's around, they're significantly less likely to be involved in them. And we'll see that in this next slide here, talking about violent crime. Kids are almost 3 times more likely to deal drugs or not just carry firearms, but carrying them for offensive purposes in a father absent home. Of the 56 school shootings that were recent, the most recent ones that were studied, almost 80% come from a home where their father wasn't present. And we know that there's other factors that go into that, obviously, but father absence contributes to a lot of the factors that come into play in the lives of these students who are committing these crimes. And then violent crime like rape, 14 times the national average in homes where dad's not present. And I want to touch on one more thing, and father presence. We're going to see in some of our upcoming slides, management of aggression is significantly more advanced in families where dad is present. He's not a source of violence. His advantage in strength and size, on average, compared to mom, isn't something that's brought to bear and used to influence. It's something that is used to demonstrate restraint and build empathy and teach management of aggression instead. And it manifests, as you're seeing in some of these places where dad isn't present. I'll tell you another story about that in a minute. Okay, so incarceration, when the state has to step in, 75% of your inmates are from father absent households, 85% of institutionalized kids are from father-absent homes. And 2.3% of the population, this is even higher in Kentucky, have a parent who's been incarcerated. And the majority of your state inmates and federal inmates are parents. When dad's around, 80% less likely to spend time in jail. Okay. As far as keeping whatever your family arrangement is, keeping parents together for the benefit of the family and the children. Obviously, when dad's not around, that model has failed, but their kids are far more likely to fail as well because they haven't seen those behaviors modeled for them. Single moms pay a price for that emotionally and psychologically. And the children of these absent fathers enter relationships earlier, their relationships fail at a higher rate. They're more likely to have children outside of a partnership. And especially with daughters, like we said, to linking back to some of the other maturation issues that the girls experience, they're more likely to marry as teenagers and almost twice as likely to get divorced. When dads are healthy and engaged, you see other behaviors modeled, including persistence, that help make relationships last. And when they see that, they model it and they apply it in their own lives, and the divorce rates are significantly lower. So let's talk about one of the worst crimes facing our nation, facing the world. In fact, it's getting ready to replace drug trafficking as the biggest, most lucrative crime on the planet. That's human trafficking. Now look at these factors that contribute to it, though, and we have talked about every single one of them as a more likely outcome of a father-absent home. And if you don't think it plays in human trafficking, well, it does. And again, the protective measures, the measures that prevent it and make it less likely to occur in a home and in a community, come from that father present. That healthy co-parenting relationship delivers these outcomes. But 70% of the women who are being exploited didn't have a dad. They've also experienced some of the other negative outcomes of father absence that we touched on earlier. You see over in the box on the right-hand side. And these male traffickers who lure these girls into trafficking present themselves as a boyfriend / father figure. They make these girls call them daddy. Interviews with some of the most, I hate to use the term successful, but most well-known and most lucrative pimps, they all insisted that their girls in their stable call them daddy. Creates this fiction of a family. And so even though they experience a lot of abuse, neglect, and degradation, they have that sense of belonging they don't have in that father-absent home. And they put up with it just to have that. And I think Dr. Allert hit it best. She says, the greatest insulation a girl has against being exploited is a healthy relationship with her father. And one of the greatest insulations against so many of these other negative outcomes of father absence is a healthy co-parenting, healthy, two-parent home, whatever form that takes. And again, some of the pre and perinatal outcomes, I know that this community doesn't deal with them directly per se, but a lot of your younger kids have moms that are going to be parents again. Having dad involved with that increases the positive outcomes and decreases some of these negative outcomes, such as mom getting into drug and alcohol tobacco use during her pregnancies, not taking her prenatal vitamins, missing her health appointments, and experiencing increased stress. When dad's around, he encourages her to be a dad who's engaged in this family, be more likely to encourage her to take her meds, help watch her stress levels, and try not to manage them through use of tobacco and alcohol and other chemicals. And then finally, there is a cost. It's not just emotional, it's not just societal, but our government in 2006, last time we really worked hard to measure what it costs not to support single parent families, was basically $100 billion a year. And that price has not gone down since 2006. And when dad's around in a healthy co-parented home, your kids are twice as likely to enter college, find stable work after high school and making them less likely to need those supports that are required. And with that, David, I will turn it over to you.
All right, thank you. Hey, so as we land the plane here, there's some information that we're going to give you about who we are at CCFF in earnest and how we might be able to partner with you. But I do want to let you know that we're going into that question time. And we want to make sure that you leave here with some practical applications of what you can do in your role to be able to enhance fatherhood engagement. And if you're like anyone, like most of the people we talk with, everybody is like, do y'all have that magic pixie dust that we can sprinkle and get dads swinging our doors and get in this school and be with their students? The answer to that question is no, we do not have the magic dust, but we have some methods and practical applications that you may be able to enlist to increase fatherhood engagement. Next slide, Tyler. So one of the ways of increasing fatherhood involvement in your school and hopefully by extension in the life of that child is understanding the barriers that they deal with. And most of this is, you will know, but it bears reiterating if we want to give sincere effort to help them overcome the barriers. And so you heard it in a lot of the things that father absence is correlated with, or we believe causes. Many of the fathers of the children that you're dealing with in your school are from father absent homes themselves. So all of those life outcomes that father absence induces, you now have an adult male that is a father himself that is manifesting those very negative life outcomes in himself. And so those barriers you will see relisted here, right? Addiction. A lot of fathers are dealing with that. Multiple partner fertility. That's a lot of words that we strung together to talk about fathers that have multiple mothers of their children. And so when you have multiple children by multiple mothers of children of the baby, there is a stretch or a pull of his time and resources. And so that becomes a barrier to his engagement with his multiple children. Employment, economic stability, self-sustainability, same thing that many mothers work with, fathers are working to overcome. Some fathers don't have the communication skills that would help them best articulate their needs or the needs of their children. And so many will stay away because of that. The ACEs that they've had, I talked about that, criminal or justice involvement themselves, and incarceration. I think many schools disqualify some. I don't know how you handle it in your jurisdiction, but some schools, when they do background checks for volunteerism or engagement, that disqualifies some fathers from coming around. And even if it's not in policy, if fathers have justice involvement, any formal systems they might shy away from because they think they're all tied and it might bring up something that he's dealing with in the justice system anyway. So for that reason, I ain't going to no school, even though I want to go see my child. So those are some self-induced things. There are also systemically induced. I say our problems are self-induced. Those are things we bring on ourselves by our behaviors and choices. But fathers are also dealing with some systemically induced issues we have come to know. Those stereotypes of fathers, dad comes in with, looking a certain way, smelling a certain way. There may be these preconceived notions. I have them. We all have them. There's gatekeeping that comes along. How many of y'all deal with a mother of a child and every other week, again, I have these conversations with my wife, right? So I'm in y'all's educational system. Don't let him come and pick my child up one week and then the next week, oh, he needs to do that. And so there's this gatekeeping that occurs sometimes with the primary custodian. I understand sometimes that's for protective issues. At other times, it's just for personal, emotional issues. Biases, disproportionalities, your fathers of color, your immigrant fathers, y'all know the idiosyncrasies that go there. Our immigrant population that is not going to as readily engage with formal systems. Employment practices, we get maternity leaves, we don't get paternity leaves yet everywhere. Evolving family constellations. You all are dealing with families that how they are composed and comprised is changing. You may have same-sex parents. You may have transgender parents. These are all things that need to be considered, so we understand that. I've mentioned public policies, and then I mentioned some of our human service practices. So these are barriers that dads deal with specifically. Moving ahead, Tyler. So as you are looking to do things, you'll want to ask some questions, right? If you can't do it, who can you engage with to do these things? What organizations or agencies could you partner with? We hope CCFF is one of those, or a CCFF partner is one of those. But how can you do another task, or how can you do another initiative without adding to your list of already long list of tasks? Let's partner and do that. We say here, if you're doing it alone, you're doing it wrong. Are there services in your community? If they're not there for responsible fatherhood and economic stability and healthy marriage, how can we perhaps maybe advocate to get those in your area? What events, professional development? This is your component here. Are y'all going to the Head Start, Healthy Start Fatherhood conferences and summits? Are you all going to be in attendance at the CCFF summit that is October 14th through the 16th? This is where you could get some information on fatherhood to help your engagement opportunities. Go ahead, Tyler. Can you be a resource to local agencies? You know, are you in partnership with your jails, your recovery houses, your specialty courts? These fathers of these children are coming through there. Is there do you have a handle with care system where you're at, which is to say that if a father or a household with a child has a parent, a father or a mother that last night got arrested, do you have a handle with care continuum in your town or in your county where the police will say, just simply send on Jill Smith or John Doe, handle with care on their record, so you know they may have been up all night because there was police activity in and out of the house, or social services activity in that house? Do you all have that? If he comes in or she comes in wearing yesterday's clothes, you know, do y'all have any sort of partnerships there? Is there any education or special programming going on germane to fatherhood, specifically to fatherhood? Listen, we teach that it's okay. There are various schools of thought on this, but we teach that it's absolutely okay to say, this is donuts with dads or donuts with dudes, or this is a fatherhood element. Now, that doesn't preclude other family members, but to name fatherhood specifically, we teach that that's okay and not exclusive, because there are others that can attend it, but to get fathers need to know that people are thinking about them specifically. And so that's where we have, do you do any work to specifically recruit and attract fathers? Can you provide or recommend or facilitate father-child activities to the families you serve? So there are all kinds of academic, in the academic programs or the athletic programs, I'm sorry, that's a draw for fathers. So you can have Friday Night Fathers at football that you organize where you're recognizing father engagement. You could have but not just athletics. Can we go beyond that? Can we get into the academics? How can you get fathers involved in the academic part? Can you have debate club dads, right? Because we're easy to go to the basketball, baseball, football game, but what about these other extracurriculars? Why aren't we lifting those up as things parents should be a part of? And in this case, specifically fathers. Why couldn't there be academic recognitions that fathers are giving their children? You encourage that. So speaking of academics, I have went almost 30 minutes. I hadn't even done a dad joke. So today is actually National Frog Day. And so National Frog Day, there's a day for everything. So here's a dad academic joke related to frogs. What do frogs take their notes on in class? This is an easy one, man. Lily pads. Hey, yo. Here's one, it's a little off color. I've been known to do this. So if we're talking about getting dads involved in more than just athletics, what if we had dads involved in the art club? So what would that group be called? Fathers for Art or Farters? Sorry, that might draw some people though, or it might drive some people away, who knows? The idea being, the idea, I'm sorry. That's the key to dad jokes. If nobody else laughs at them, you've got to, right? So the idea is that we want fathers to be engaged specifically, right? Next slide, Tyler. Please get us out of this one. So what we have the opportunity to do, and again, what we can offer here as a partnership, you really need to know where you're at on the scale with fatherhood engagement. And so there are tools out there to assess the father friendliness of your organization. In fact, right now, we have a particular opportunity to work with the National Fatherhood Initiative. They have a father-friendly assessment, and we're working with them on a special partnership here in Kentucky that we have 35 slots that you get that father-friendly assess. You do the assessment, we give it back to the National Fatherhood Initiative. They analyze that, and then we get recommendations for implementation to make our leadership, our professional development, our environments more father-centric in hopes to attract more fathers to the space for all that responsible fatherhood does. And so if anybody's interested in that, I can send that flyer to Quentin, I'm assuming, and it tells you about this. It's about a 3-month process, but you only have to do the assessment once. The assessment's analyzed, then there's an initial webinar, and then there's a webinar after your assessment's analyzed to get an implementation guide. But how father-friendly is your space? So that's what we could potentially offer. Next slide, Tyler. So the next information is really about us, but I want to pause before we get at our time. And Tyler, I'm going to forego it. It's more about CCFF and what we do. We do KY Dad Academy, which is an academy for fathers. That's kind of a specific. That's the closest thing we do to direct service delivery. We may have a KY Dad that has went through this 6-week, 10-session training intensive. We want them to not only go back and be good dads in their home, we want them to be civically engaged. And we've got right now a cohort of 15, 16, and our 15. Hope is to continue doing that, and that we have someone in each county eventually that they could be a resource for folks in that county. We also have mini grants. So tomorrow, no, the 22nd is the deadline for this round. We do $5,000, $10,000 mini grants for folks to do fatherhood awareness activities and or curriculum in their counties or surrounding areas. You all are eligible to write for that moving ahead. And so if you sign up for our listserv, you'll be able to get those notices The other three things we do, you all, are policy and advocacy. We look at policies to make sure they're father friendly. We have professional development. We do this with probation and parole. We've done it with healthcare providers. We've done it with social workers. We've done it with friskies. We do it across sectors. That's the professional development, training, and awareness piece that we do. And then finally, it's the summit that we have. This year's summit will be here in Lexington, Kentucky. It'll be from October 14th to 16th. And again, if you're on a listserv, you'll see those. Nonetheless, I want to pause. I want to stop, actually, and I want to see if you all have any questions. What Tyler has there now, actually, you can't see it well. Again, Quentin, I'll send that to you. This is the opportunity for the Father Readiness Network Assessment. You can do that as a frisky, one super or one. Two people need to fill that assessment out. It takes about 45 minutes, and then you'll get some father friendliness information in that regard. Couple other applications I want to share with you all and things for you to know about. Bullying that all of you are dealing with, I know, is also another thing that we correlated with father presence, that it helps reduce that. Literacy scores, math scores, all of these things have been proven to increase or with father engagement. There are best practices in working with fathers that we can get you resources for. In particular, the National Fatherhood Clearinghouse has a lot of research and resources that you can use. They have some free downloads, like tip cards that you could give the dads for working with school-age children. So dads can have some resources. They will come to you if you have things that are helpful for them. And they will come to you if you have concentrated and focused efforts on bringing them there. So that sounds novel or sounds rudimentary, but it really is. You have to show that you're friendly to fathers for fathers to engage. And our systems just haven't been set up that way to this point. So this is not an aspersion towards you. It's just the way things happen. When you call home, don't just ask for mom for the PTA meeting. You can ask for dad too, right? So anyway, questions. I know, Tyler, we're going to have a little short survey that you want them to do, but I'll shut up and give opportunity for questions or comments.
Yeah, Quentin, I'm pretty sure you said we didn't get at least 3 comments or questions. You couldn't give the credit for the professional development.
Well,
Yeah, that's not totally true, but
right. If you really want to scare them, I can tell them I'm a Baptist preacher and I don't quit preaching until I get a certain quota of amens. And so somebody immediately said amen or shut up.
Oh no.
Hey, you all, we greatly appreciate you all. So here's the vision for CCFF. We want to get these KY dads out here. Right now, we got 15 Tyler from 13 different counties. We want to get these mini grants out here. We've got, to this point, about 25 mini grants across the state, Tyler. Help me with my math. And they're in about 20 different counties. We do have
grants in 34 counties.
What was those numbers, Tyler?
23 grants, 34 counties.
Okay, so that number's higher because some of them serve multiple counties. So if we get these mini grants out there, Brother Floyd, and if we get these KY dads out there, Sister Caitlin, What we're hoping to see is now we're building capacity in respective areas around fatherhood. We're building awareness, we're building interest. Ultimately, we want to have outposts across the state. West Kentucky Center for Fathers and Families, Eastern, Southern, Central, Northern centers for fathers and families that are full service centers for fathers tailored towards the needs of those fathers of that region, so that folks like Friskies, OBGYNs, health departments, DCBS will have someone they can partner with to help meet the unique and specialized needs of fathers. And so we're building capacity here. Schools are everywhere. You all are a critical point of contact. I know so much is asked of you already. And so we want to build an infrastructure to assist you in providing comprehensive, holistic wraparound services for children, particularly those that speak to the needs of fathers, so that fathers can be more equipped to be able to serve children and mitigate those negative life outcomes and enhance those healthy life outcomes and protective factors. So that's the goal. Would love to lock arms with you all as we continue doing that. And Lord willing, we'll be around here for a while and we'll come across you. Tyler? You're muted, Doc.
Sorry. It really helps us if you would take 2 minutes to complete that survey for us. Let us know what you liked, didn't like, if you agreed or disagreed with, or would like to see more of something else. If you would like to follow us, on Instagram or Facebook, just to get the latest and see what we're doing and see what might apply to the dads and the fathers that you work with in your school system. You want more information about the KY Dad Academy, or what maybe some other people have done with grants, because we have 3 Friskies who have put in grants for this next window. We'll open another application window this summer. So if there's something you'd like to do and plan, over the summer and start executing in the fall, we're here to help. If you think other audiences of who need this information, who might not have heard it, who would benefit from it, let us know. We're happy to work with them. All for the whole purpose of increasing positive outcomes for the kids in Kentucky. So again, thank you for your time. You've been great, and we've enjoyed talking with you today.